Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a little bit of a Storytime video. So, the other day I had a little look at my Facebook memories and I came across this post from 8 years ago saying, well, farewell Gowerton, it's been lovely, but it's time to move on to the next chapter of my life. I'll be back for visits, onwards and upwards. So this post was from when I actually moved out of my home village, a place where I'd lived all of my life, and it's actually a little bit of a sad story of why that happened, why I up and left, which I will get into shortly. But this Facebook post, it got me thinking. There was always a part of me that always felt a little bit lost of where I need to be in life. Even before the death of my mother in 2014, I think I've always been that person wondering and pondering and daydreaming where I want to be in my life going forward. The questions were running through my head. Is Gowerton my home village? Is it the place for me? Is Swansea the hometown where I want to spend the rest of my life? So, if this video today helps anyone out there who's feeling the same as I was, wondering where they should be, weighing up the pros and the cons and the odds of leaving their hometown and starting afresh, or just feeling lost in general and needs a little bit of motivational insight, then my job here today is done, because I wish I had some help when I was feeling a little bit lost. And it doesn't matter whether if you are a teenager or a young adult or someone who's even older than me. It's never too late to change the chapter of your life or even start a whole new book. Time for a little bit of history now. The history of Craig. Now, I was born and bred in Swansea, which is a town in southwest Wales, and within Swansea, I grew up in a little village called Gowerton, where I remained until the age of 28 years old. Now, there were times where I did leave Swansea and moved to different places. I think one time I moved to North Wales for a job, but I always came home to my mother, who lived in Gowerton all of her life. And in my mid-20s, I became my mum's carer when she was diagnosed with COPD, and I would take her shopping, take her for days out, help her around the house and cook meals, etc. Now in 2014, my mother sadly passed away, which I won't get into all of the details, but it wasn't expected and she was definitely taken way too soon. Now my mum, she was living in a 3-bedroom council house before she passed away, and as I said, I was her carer, so I was also living in this house, and this house is my childhood house growing up. I didn't really know anything else. Now, unfortunately, around about a week after my mum's funeral, I was called into the local council office to be told that I was not allowed to stay in my mother's house and that I was going to have to be rehoused into a 1-bedroom flat. Now, of course, this was very upsetting for myself at the time, and I argued until I was blue in the face, and I pretty much had a massive emotional breakdown, but it made no difference to the council. I was leaving the house. Now, fast forward around about 6 or 7 weeks, the council had a flat that they wanted to show me, which was still in Gowerton, my childhood village. It was an upstairs 1-bedroom flat. It had a big living room, a big bedroom, a very weird looking bathroom where the toilet was completely in a room on its own, and then the bath and the sink, they were like literally in a room directly next to the toilet. There was like this random wall in between. Now, if I can find a photo, I'll stick it up for you. Anyway, the flat seemed decent, and I decided to take this flat. I mean, down in Swansea, you get the choice of 3 different places that the council will show you, and after that, the council won't help you anymore, like if you refuse any of these 3 places. But, I was okay having a flat because it was in my home village. I then moved into the flat, and I wasn't able to take all of the furniture from my mother's house because, let's face it, I was moving from a 3-bedroom house and going into a 1-bedroom flat. But, you know, I took all the important stuff like a bed, my mother's sofas, washing machine, cooker, and all of that. And of course, I took all of the personal items. I moved into this flat of September 2014. Bear in mind, my mum had passed away in July of the same year, so it was a very, very fast transition. I was still in a very emotional state. My whole life had literally been turned upside down, and I stayed in this flat for 18 months before deciding that I am leaving my home village forever. I am leaving this council flat and I'm going to start my own personal journey. Now, the reasons why I ended up leaving my village does have a certain story that might upset some of the viewers, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a warning there. But here we go. The neighbour who lived underneath me was homophobic. A really nasty homophobe who was also an alcoholic. Now, there were times where I would wake up in the middle of the night hearing this man underneath my flat shouting homophobic words and slurs, knowing full well that I would hear it. I mean, these flats were like paper towels, and it would go on for hours in the middle of the night, and it would be a common thing that would happen. I once came home from somewhere, it might have been work, I'm not sure, but there was this pink lady's coat just sprawled across my doorstep. Obviously, pink mocking me for being gay. Maybe, I don't know what was going on in his mind, but that's what happened. Now, this went on for some time, and something eventually just clicked in my brain. Why am I living here? Why am I living like this? Why am I living in fear? Because I was terrified. I had made complaints to the council. They were no helps. Shock horror. I called the police, and I think there were like 2 times where the police had arrested him and locked him up for the night in the cells, but he was released and then he would return and it would just carry on all over again. There was literally no help. It went on for so long. I wasn't happy. I wasn't in a good place anyway because of what happened with my mother. I was diagnosed with having severe depression, shock horror, but I'm not one of those people who uses their mental health as an excuse to maybe get things or to do wrong things or to dwell on it. I mean, it's the same reason why I don't flaunt my sexuality. I am gay and I've got depression, but that's just a little part of me, just a little part. There are many different layers to me. Anyway, I decided it was time to leave Gowerton once and for all, and I didn't tell anyone that this was going to happen. I literally just packed up all of my stuff, left most of my furniture because the place where I was going to was fully furnished and I was going to have a housemate. It was one of my friends that I was working with at the time. So I filled up my car, I did about 3 trips, put my keys through the flat, the flat door, and just left, and that was it. That was when I put up my Facebook post that appeared in my Facebook memories 8 years ago. So I moved out of my village to a different part of Swansea and I never looked back. It was the best thing I ever did, it really, really was. I can remember loads of people telling me that I would regret leaving my council flat because I would never be able to get back on the list for a council property in the future. And what those people didn't realise is that I didn't want to be in the council system. Just because my mother was, doesn't mean that that's what I want going forward. I mean, it was a council that did nothing for me. It did nothing for, all I had to do was follow their rules. Nah. Something just clicked in my brain, as I said earlier, that made me realise that I create my own destiny and I am the only person who can create my future going forward. So that's the story of me leaving my village, but I was still in Swansea where I remained for a good few more years. Now I'm going to fast forward, jump forward a little bit and tell you the reasons why I ended up completely leaving my hometown Swansea and why I moved to Newport with my now husband, Peter. Remember when COVID hit us in 2020? Well, we all had a lot of free time, didn't we? Because we weren't allowed outside. Me and Peter, we wanted to become homeowners, and there was just no way that we were ever going to be able to save up for a deposit. So we ended up registering for the rent to buy scheme in Wales, where basically we had to go to all of these local councils in South Wales and register our interest. So we did that, and then we kind of just forgot about it until around about a year later, when I received an email telling me that there were these 16 brand new houses almost ready for people to move into, and it was all part of the shared ownership or the rent to buy scheme. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the rent to buy scheme is, it's basically where we pay rent on our house for, I think it's up to 5 years, and every month 25% of that rent money goes into a savings pot that we cannot touch. Then after 5 years, all of those savings goes towards the deposit for our mortgage. So me and Peter, we just couldn't turn down this offer. I was absolutely flabbergasted that I even received an email for this scheme. I thought like we were literally going to be waiting years. I thought we were like way down the list, but hey ho, here we are. We viewed the house and we fell in love with it, and this is where we now live. But it did mean one thing: moving out of Swansea and moving to Newport. Now, Newport is about a 1 hour drive away from Swansea, depending on which part of Swansea you are driving from, and also depending on traffic, of course. Me and Peter had discussed previously that we really wanted to move closer to Cardiff, which is just down the road from Newport. It's literally 1 train journey away. It's less than 10 minutes on the train, but Cardiff is basically the capital of Wales. It's very expensive to buy a property there. So when this new house in Newport came up, it was just perfect. Me and Peter always felt that we needed to really grow as people, and we wanted to be closer to the capital of Wales, Cardiff, for bigger and better opportunities that we felt we may not get in Swansea. Now, this isn't me dissing Swansea at all, but as I said, for personal reasons, we felt we needed to be closer to Cardiff in order to grow. We always knew that we wanted to start our own business. We didn't really know what at that moment in time, what that business was going to be, but we knew we wanted to start a business, and we wanted to be closer to the bigger venues, make new contacts with people. Now, before this house was even emailed to us, I always felt I no longer had a purpose left in Swansea. I had been through so much growing up in this hometown. I'd lost my mum, I also lost my sister, I lost one of my best friends at a very young time of my life, yet I do still have family there, and yes, I still have friends in Swansea, and there were times where I would be sitting there kind of watching my friends getting engaged, having children, getting new jobs and careers, owning their new homes, and really getting on very well in life, which is fantastic. But something there was just holding me and Peter back. There were also some people in Swansea who were my friends at the time who eventually turned out to be not very nice people. You know, those sort of people who just use you for X, Y, and Z, you know, lifts here, lifts there, add up some numbers for their little event, you know. I had a lot of those in my life, and I was let down by a lot of people in Swansea over the years, and I just knew that I just needed to leave. So not only was moving to Newport going to be very beneficial for me and Peter in the career sense, but it was also really nice to go somewhere for a fresh start, make new friends and connections, and basically for me and Peter to start our story together. As I said, I still have friends in Swansea, some really good lifelong friends, and me and Peter go down and visit them, and sometimes, you know, our friends come up here. But also moving to Newport, it also opened up my eyes to other friends who just never bothered to keep in contact. Even when I send them messages, I pretty much get ignored. I mean, how does that make one feel? In fact, there's another story where me and Peter were still in Swansea and some of my friends, they were going on nights out or arranging meals together, and it was just after COVID, you know, we hadn't seen a lot of friends at this stage, and when the restrictions were lifted, me and Peter never got invitations to these nights out and meals. It was kind of like we were being ghosted, but for no reason. I would see their Snapchat stories and Instagram stories, and it used to make me feel pretty shit. So there was so much negative experiences that definitely helped to contribute to the reasons of why it was time to leave Swansea and start fresh with Peter somewhere else. The best part about all of this now is that we go down to Swansea to visit our family and our friends, but we now only go and visit the genuine friends who have stayed in touch. You know, even sometimes when you don't speak to these friends, but when, you know, for a couple of months, because, you know, let's face it, life does get in the way. When you do see each other, it's like we saw each other yesterday. I love friends like that. All of the negative friends and fake friends, you know, people who just made you feel a little bit small. We don't even get to think about them now. We get to choose who we go and visit, and it's really, really, really nice. We have such a great time. It's always positive when we visit Swansea and West Wales. Living in Newport is fantastic. We love living here. We have made some incredible lifelong friends just on the street where we live. I mean, they all came to our wedding. Yeah, we've all clicked and connected, and life is just really, really good for us up here. We have worked our asses off to get where we are today, but it's fantastic. So to conclude, if you're someone who is feeling a little bit lost, maybe you're pondering about whether to move to a bigger city or the countryside or even a different country with your partner or on your own, but you're feeling a little bit scared, honestly guys, don't be scared. If you're feeling that you want to take the leap, then just do it. If it doesn't work out, you can always move back to your hometown. Just because you leave your hometown doesn't mean that you can't go back. It's a really big world out there with lots of things to see and do, lots of new people to meet and new friends. Something I will say though is always have a plan. Don't necessarily do what I did when I just upped and left my flat. Don't tell anybody about that, you know. It worked out for me at the time, but it won't work out for everyone. In fact, it can be quite dangerous. Always have a plan in place, but take the risk. Life is short, life is for living, and you never know, that new place where you end up in might just be the making of you. So that is my story of leaving my village and then eventually taking the leap and leaving my hometown and starting a new life with my husband. Now, if you're still here watching this video, then I really, really applaud you all for sticking around, because I know that I can babble on sometimes, but I really wanted to share and go into a bit of detail with this one. I really hope that you've enjoyed, watching today's Storytime video. I might actually continue sharing stories from some of my Facebook memories. If anything does come up going forward and I feel it would be a great tale to tell, then I will share it with you all. Now, as usual guys, please make sure that you hit that like, share and subscribe button. Share this video with a friend, and please leave a comment underneath this video, and make sure that you enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye guys. Thank you all for watching my video today. Be sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out some of my other videos. Thank you everyone.